I'm trying to make sure you guys can fucking see this picture, but it looks like you can. And if I did this, there we go. Okay. I, I, I feel very stupid going on these videos knowing I only have 3 views, but it's okay. Those 3 views, I love you guys. Come back again. um, so the book I'm reviewing today is a book called Gray Eyes by Frank Christopher Bush. I hope I say his name properly. And he's a Cree author, and he's from my area. He's a member of the Nissechawe Cree Nation Band, which is NCN or Nelson House if you want to look that up. The book takes place like pre-contact in North America. It follows an indigenous First Nations known as the Nehewak people, but personally for me, I say Innuwak as people, but it's Nehewak is mostly referred to people, Cree people who share the common language. Just a little history, little thing there for you to know, I guess. Um, so this in this world, it's kind of like a steeped in fantasy and also reality. Um, it follows this village up in north here in this area specifically where the book is supposedly said is based in around this area, and it basically follow yeah. There's a main character in here. His name is Little Gray Bear, and he's born with a gift called the Gray Eyes. It's hot in here. Holy fuck! I'm gonna blast up this AC as soon as I'm done this. So a little gray bear is a gray eye, and there hasn't been a gray eye born in the last 3 generations. One of his ancestors was actually a gray eye, and gray eyes are considered to be healers, teachers, leaders, people who protect the Nehewak people and their way of life. And their sworn enemies are the red eye people who go against the teachings of the Nehewak people and the teachings of the Creator, the teaching of the white buffalo movement that were brought to the Nehewak people. And I really enjoyed it. I the first time I picked up this book was around like 2 years ago, but I never really got a chance to fully read it at the time. And I got really choked up reading the first 3 chapters because it was going through this process of showing you how the village worked. There's 7 different clans. There's the cranes, the eagles, the martens, the wolves, the bears, the turtles, and the eagles. I believe I said the eagles. Yeah, and each clan is headed by a clan mother, the woman who's elder, who's the oldest one, and who follows the line of descent. And that was very a beautiful thing to see because I did not grow up with much traditional knowledge about my people. I mainly grew up in a town where it was just mostly Christian. We did have some traditionals, but it wasn't as detailed and so rich in this book, and it really made me choke up. Actually, any indigenous book that talks about indigenous life before contact of the Europeans, I literally get choked up because I feel like it's part of me saying that I'm I'm missing that, or I lost a chance to experience something like that. And for me, reading this book was very beautiful and is very enriching to me. And it made me proud of how my people were so resilient back then and everything. It was just beautiful. I don't think most people will like this book. It doesn't follow your traditional Western format of what a book should be. It starts off really slow, and when the climax hits, it hits way at the end, and not everyone's gonna like the ending, which I feel like is something that not all, but almost all Indigenous books I have read so far in my life, not almost all of them I read. I feel like they don't follow the same formula, and which is I really enjoy. And it's a way for Indigenous author to decolonize themselves and bringing in the whole richer idea of storytelling, which has basically been part of our own cultures. Although it's different between for Indigenous peoples, storytelling can be about sharing your knowledge between generations. Stories can be talking about as teachings to tell you how to be as a person. You can take some of these teachings and apply them in your life, or some stories can just be a storytelling, just from straight through. That's just what this book is. It's telling you a story of a young boy becoming a man in a village, even though the village doesn't really acknowledge him as an adult. But at the end of it, you're gonna be like, this is a young man who's gonna be a leader someday. And this is what I really enjoyed about the book so much. It's just you're just following him growing up, even though it felt like really tedious listening to all these ceremonial practices, which is I feel like it's very important for the readers to understand, because when it comes to indigenous ceremonies and practices, you have to acknowledge the people who are participating and what their roles are. And I think some people will be turned off by that, but it's there for a purpose. You have to acknowledge who's always there. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the way it is. It's how it's always been for many, many years, and I've always enjoyed that part of the book. At the end of it, I was kind of like thrown off at the ending, but at the same time, I wasn't surprised that the ending ended like that. But yeah, I'm really hoping for the author to get a second book, or at least write another book, because I really feel like he understands. I feel like he has a voice that should be added to more of a collective. You know what I mean? Like, I would like to see more indigenous authors doing more fantasy or sci-fi books, because I feel like there's not enough indigenous characters or indigenous stories out there for us to read. Besides Rebecca Roanhorse, who wrote Child of Lightning, which I'll probably be reading her second book, Storm of Locust, next month, hopefully. But yeah, we really need to have more authors out there that writes in this genre, because I rarely see any fantasy books or sci-fi books or any paranormal books too. Maybe I could be the next one. Never know. But anyways, I gave this book 5 stars. I kind of almost leaned to 4 stars because I didn't really particularly like the first part, but it makes sense when you get to the end of the book, and it makes sense at the whole. After you finish the book and you realize, you think to yourself, "Oh, that's why he wrote in this way in the beginning." Yeah, but yeah, I might post another video about indigenous books, indigenous literature. Recommend some stuff that you would like to read, or maybe you want to pick up, or I can explain some ideas about indigenous literature to everybody. I wouldn't mind. So I think that's it. I thought this was going to be a longer video, but it's not. So, hooray. I'm going to go out into the freaking hot sun. You think it's fucking cold up in northern Manitoba, but it is not. It is stifling hot out there. It's dry. Sometimes it's humid because the bay wind comes in from Hudson Bay, and you're dying. So after this, I'm just gonna go walk to KFC and eat my fucking chicken. Ciao.